Hello, my name is Sherrie. I'm an artist, and welcome to my YouTube channel.
Hello, and welcome to my sketchbook tour. So this sketchbook I have had for the last 3 years. It's about about 300 pages. It's really thick. I'm probably gonna have to break this into 2 videos because I have so much in here. So this is a Strathmore sketchbook that I took and covered myself. So yeah, the interior of this is the Strathmore sketchbook. It's either Strathmore or Michael's generic equivalent to it. I don't remember, and I can't look right here to see if there's a little Strathmore symbol because this sketchbook is permanently in this cover. So this cover I did, so my boyfriend has a laser machine, and I went to school for most of the Adobe products, including Adobe Illustrator. So I designed the entire sketchbook cover, which I'll show you here. There's one piece of it. So this was one piece, and then the corners are little tiny corner pieces, which I tend to like. Although I don't think if I were to do this next time, I wouldn't leave on these little tiny tabs. I just have them go all the way to the edge. But anyways, this was a prototype. I was gonna start producing these, but the thing is, the leather and the work that goes into it was very pricey, and these would be about $500 a piece, and I didn't want to charge another artist that much because unless you're rich, you can't afford $500 for just about anything. So, but I love the way it came out. So yeah, I did this on raw leather. I did the design in Illustrator. I put it through the laser machine. The laser machine engraved all of this and then cut out the different pieces, which there's, the big piece right here, the 4 little pieces, and then on the inside there's these pieces here. So that was 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces. And then I put the colorant on them. I finished the edge with this little scribe type thing. We put it through a leather stitcher, put the white thread on it, and then colored it. And then, or actually we colored it first, then stitched it all together, and then made it into a sketchbook cover. However, the leather, I thought I had measured it correctly, and the leather had shrunk during the process, and that's why, like, this right here is all sticking out because it's overstretched lengthwise this way. And that's also the reason why I had to end up taking out the spine of the sketchbook itself, so I could actually fit the sketchbook in the sketchbook cover. I plan on doing this again for my personal sketchbooks. I don't know about producing them, marketing them and producing them on a regular basis. Let me know down in the comments if you want something like that, because I could totally make it. Anyways, so this is the interior of my sketchbook. So this is the first page, and the first page usually I do all like nice and fancy, but because the colorant that I put on the leather, it kind of rubbed off on here, sort of. So I just like sketched a raccoon and a little barn owl, practicing my animals, because I'm currently right now doing a draw 100 animals challenge, and later on next month or the month after, I'm going to be putting together a book. I'm not quite done with the draw 100 animals yet, but I will be. So yeah, this is me practicing them. And here's a red panda. And this is when I first started my colored pencils, and I really liked the Prismacolor pencils. I never really used them before, and I'd always used, watercolors or acrylics or something like that. And I always thought that, doing colored pencils would be like sketchy and messy, and because I'd always used cheap colored pencils. So got my hands on some Prismacolors, and they were gorgeous. So yeah, so I did that, and then drawing a couple goats, again with the Prismacolor pencils. I really like those. And then aliens always seem to creep into my sketchbook. So this is an idea that I had. If the cat had only done its job, it would have only been one movie. So alternative ending. Also in here, you notice that I don't draw on these pages, on the secondary pages, just simply because it's the way that I've been taught. Years ago, I was taught you only draw on the main page. Don't draw on these pages because, things rub off. Like, for instance, I had colored in, the lettering on the alien. And then I had gone back to this one, which is 2 pages, and colored in this little scroll. And lo and behold, 2 pages later, the blue on the alien rubbed off on here. So it's just, whatever you put on this page, it will eventually rub off, unless it's like, even watercolors will rub off eventually, unless it's like acrylic that's been sealed or something, it's gonna rub off eventually. So, especially working with pencils and pens and stuff, it's just a good idea for me not to draw anything on this page. I don't know. And you'll see later on, I tape in pictures and prints and things. Like if I do a sketch on this page, I'll put, a print of the final piece over here so you can compare and stuff. So yeah. So this is, his name is Scout. His name was Scooter. I changed it to Scout because it was this very imaginative children's book that I wanted to do about this cat who runs away from home and winds up in fairyland and has to find his way back. So I had drawn out the sketch, and then my mom had moved down here to be with me. I live in Florida. She lives like 5 minutes away. And so she got a rescue cat, and it was this little cute orange kitten, and we're like, well, we have to name it Scooter, and that's what this kitten's name was at the time. And then my mom accidentally called him Scout, and that name just stuck, and he answered to it. So this is now Scout. And so yeah, this is all his story and me practicing drawing kitties and butterflies. And this is Goblin, who was my pet back 20 years ago. She was a Norwegian forest cat, and she was a rescue too. And she just did everything so like gracefully and beautifully, and like when she'd play, and it wasn't like a cute little kitten. It was like very graceful. So and she always reminded me of royalty, so that's why I wanted to put her in this. And in this story, she's the queen of the fairies, and she tries to convince Scout to stay in fairyland, but that doesn't always work. So so then there's this guy which is a minus the wings. He's a hairless hamster that I used to have back 20 years ago. And so he was just so odd looking that I just had to have him. He was so ugly, he was cute. So I wanted to put him in because he was such a unique looking hamster. I wanted to put him in the story. So he's the one, he has little fairy wings, and he's the one that helps Scout find his way back home. So so yeah. And then this is a sketch of the kitten's owner, his human, this little girl. I haven't named her yet. I don't know if she's actually gonna have a name. And then in drawing her, I realized I didn't know how to draw faces of children and make them look like kids. So then I went back to my George Bridgman, which George Bridgman is drawing from life. It's an anatomy book. Shows like, you know, how to draw children's faces and like referring to a grown-up adult face, back and forth. So yeah, so I went and sketched out this page, then flipped back to this one, and then sketched her out, and I'm like, okay, that looks like a kid. It looks like a child, and you know, yeah. So that's this. And then the next 3 pages are me just hashing out the story. So you don't need to see that. And then this is another story that I'm working on. This is my Skulls and Black Lace story, which I started to do a comic book, and I might still do the comic book too, but I'm actually writing a novel. It's going to be like a graphic novel. It's going to be illustrated. And it's about this girl named Rhea Hawk. She's half human, half dragon. She had just escaped from a prison. It takes place in a dark fantasy world, dark medieval fantasy. So yeah, this is her and her horse that has been stolen by her from the guards that she escaped from. And she's walking out of the woods onto an old farm. And I really like the way that the sketch turned out. I do not like the way that this turned out. This is the finished piece. I don't like that. I'm probably gonna have to redraw that again. So, and so these next couple pages are me like hashing out like what everything looks like. So this is this is the back of the farm, and this is the front of the farm. This is Rhea walking down a street between 2 other farms that she's trying to hide herself. So she's trying to hide her wings, and she has these ear things that she has to try to hide, so nobody recognizes her. So she's in a cloak. And then this is her like walking away from that original farmhouse. She's all like mad and upset and creeped out because the farm owner was kind of a creepy guy. So, alright, this is some of my character sketches. This is Mary. She's the owner of a pub that's in town that Rhea Hawk ends up going into, and she ends up kind of helping her out. And then this is her daughter, Sarah. She's an older teenager that, you know, she's rebellious. She joined a thieves guild, and her mom were fighting, and, you know, she is pushing her, not choking her. So yeah, I gotta still work on the sketch a little bit more because it looks like she's choking her, but she's not actually. But yeah, she's just like rebellious, doesn't want to listen to her mother, and she's also dating this guy, Imbris, who's a real like shrewd, weaselly guy that excuse me, that her mother like sees through and doesn't want her dating him, but she's in love and all this, so she they keep going back and forth and stuff, and so yeah, that's the background on that. What's the matter, babies? My cat. You might hear him meowing in the background. Sorry about that, but he's very, very talkative, and yeah. So this was when I originally got my 150 pencil set of Prismacolors. It was the first time getting that. I was so excited. So I had watched online, apparently you can use alcohol, isopropyl alcohol, to blend the colors and make them look more like paint rather than colored pencil. And I tried it, and I really didn't like the way any of this came out, because to me it just looks like colored pencil that's been gone over with a blender. These two colors, this blue and this like turquoise, those were the only two colors that I really thought looked like that. But it's good to, experiment and try out new things in your sketchbook. That's what they're meant for. And this is me trying to teach somebody about the elements and principles of art. And then this page, basically this is what I want. It's a map of what I want my Patreon page to eventually be, is a bunch of art classes. So hopefully someday. And then this is me trying out some of the Prismacolor pencils, the colors that I wasn't used to. Because I usually had gotten the 24 set, and my boyfriend had bought me the 150 set for like Christmas or something, and it was awesome. Okay, so this is more of my Patreon page. This is a dragon and a girl in her underwear, just because. And this is another picture of Rayahawk going through the farmer's fields and trying to hide her wings underneath her cloak. And in this, so apparently I was a little late to the party when it comes to gouache. I had watched a bunch of YouTube tutorials on gouache, and I'm like, I should really like experiment with this, because I was looking for something that had the feeling of oils, but wasn't oils, because I had been poisoned years ago by oils, and well, not by oils necessarily, by their thinners and the things that you add to them, the additives. So I have a really averse reaction to like the smell of oil paints. So but I love the way they feel, the butteriness, and there's nothing else like it. And gouache has kind of an oil like feel to them, except for the fact that they dry so fast. But for the fact that you can pick up put a little bit of water on your brush and pick up that color again and get it wet and reblend it and rework it, that is awesome. And I absolutely fell in love with this stuff. So yeah. Okay, and aliens, of course, they always sneak into my sketchbooks. This was inks, I think. I think it was inks, and yeah, the white is ink. The gray was gouache. Yeah, gouache, and then, of course, black ink over it. Okay, so I gotta stop right here, and I will possibly do 3 of these because I'm only a third of the way through this book. So please like and subscribe. Thank you so much for staying with me. Sorry about my cat. He's being annoying. Yeah, so like and subscribe. I have a Patreon that I would really, really love to have pay for this YouTube channel. And I also have an Etsy if anybody's interested in checking that out and checking out my Patreon. It would be very, very appreciated. Thank you so much. And I will see you in part 2 of my sketchbook tour. Okay, bye.
Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.